All right, so today's math lesson is a continuation of lesson 3-1, but this is part 2. So our math goal today is comparison problems. So please write that down and write down anything you know about comparing problems. Then come back to me. Okay, let's look at our first problem. Rasheen picked 15 apples while her little brother Eli picked 3 apples. How can we compare the amounts they have? How many ways can you say it and draw comparison bars? So let's take a look at that. Okay, so Eli picked 3 apples. So I'm representing my bar. Here's my comparison bar. Eli picked 3. And Rashim picked 15. So by counting by threes, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, this is how I can compare them. We use my comparison bars. And so I can say Rashim picked 5 times as many apples as Eli picked, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Or I can say Eli picked 1/5 times as many apples as Rashim picked. Okay, so how I did that, write this part down. So write down that to do these problems, we use comparisons by putting person or the thing you're asking about goes on top as a numerator. So the person or thing you're asking about is the numerator. Your other comparison person or thing goes at the bottom, your denominator. So this is one way for us to simply do that. So Rashim, right? Who's the person? Rashim was 15, so 15 goes at the top. Who am I comparing it to? Eli, which was the 3, so 15 over 3, which is the same thing as 15 divided by 3 is 5. So Rashim picked 5 times as many apples as Eli picked. And to compare Eli, who am I comparing? Eli, so Eli goes on the top, which is my 3. Who am I comparing it to? Rashim, which was my 15. 3 15s, which is the same thing as 1/5, because remember, whatever I do to the bottom or the top, I got to do to the other way. So I can divide these both I can simplify by dividing this by 3 and dividing the bottom by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 15 divided by 3 is 5. Remember, we did that in unit 1. So Eli picked 1/5 times as many apples as Rashim picked. Okay, so now you try one. Natasha made 12 quarts of soup. Manuel made 3 quarts of soup. So how can we compare them? How many ways can you say it? So the 2 different ways, remember that we said it, and draw some comparison bars like I did on the previous one. Okay, so here are my comparison bars. So Manuel made 3, right? 3 quarts. So I'm counting by threes. And then Natasha made 12, so 3, 6, 9, 12. So Natasha made 4 times as many. Manuel made 1/4 the amount. So another way to write this with the person I'm looking for, Natasha, she had 12. Who am I comparing to? Manuel, who had 3. 12 divided by 4. Sorry, 12 divided by 3 is 4. Manuel's what did Manuel have? Manuel had 3. Who am I comparing to? Natasha, who had 12. So 3/12, which is the same thing as 1/4 because I can divide both by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 12 divided by 3 is 4. And here are my comparison bars. So I can say Natasha made 4 times as many quarts of soup as Manuel, or Manuel made 1/4 as many times the quarts of soup as Natasha. All right, try this one. Bill caught 15 fish and Amy caught 5 fish. How can you compare the amounts? What are the 2 different ways you can say it? And draw some comparison bars, then come back to me. All right, so Bill caught 3 times as many fish as Amy, or you can say Amy caught 1/3 the times as many fish as Bill caught. Here are my comparison bars. Bill caught 5, 10, 15. Amy caught 5. So what am I comparing? Person I'm comparing is Bill, which is 15. Who am I comparing to? Amy. Amy was 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. If I'm going to compare Amy's was 5. What's the other person? Bill. Bill was 15. 15, 5 over 15. I can simplify this. Remember, whatever I do to the top, I do to the bottom. So I can simply divide these both by 5, because 5 can be divided by 5 one time, and 15 can also be divided by 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3, so 1/3. All right, so what did you learn? Write down what you learned today. Proof of learning by solving a problem. So do a comparison problem with comparison bars, do your own, and then do a reflection or a question you may still have.